Now, I asked just before the break, over the weekend, did you get yourself maybe a bit of steak or lamb for the weekend? Lamb roast, yum. I had a very nice steak on Friday night at a very nice restaurant, big T-bone, which I shared with hubby. I think he got the lion's share, but geez, it was good. I tell you what, though, to buy is expensive. We know that. And also, sometimes you can struggle to find the cuts that you like. And one butcher is saying prices and supply are the worst that he has ever seen. Is that what you're finding? Chief Executive and owner of The Mad Butcher says beef and lamb prices have been going up for about 2 years, but at the moment there's hardly any around, so it's driving up prices to the highest he's seen. There is a high demand overseas, which is good news. Red meat exports total 1.1 billion in May. Beef exports are up. And that's good stuff, but it doesn't really help you or I, though, if we're wanting some meat. So joining me now is Kit Arkwright, Chief Executive of New Zealand Beef and Lamb. Kit, good evening.
Good evening, Leah.
I had a very nice steak on Friday night. I just had to share that with everyone, but there is obviously some challenges facing the sector at the moment. What are they?
Well, firstly, really glad that you had a delicious steak. That's great to hear. There are some challenges. Beef and lamb, like any other food, is subject to seasonal fluctuations. Now, here in New Zealand, we use a pastoral grass-based or grass-fed-based production system. We're in the middle of winter. Of course, the grass growth is not what it would be in the summer. So that means at this time of year, there would be traditionally, less supply. But this year in particular is an anomaly due to some of the climatic or dry conditions we had earlier in the year. The sector as a whole is way ahead of the number of livestock that have been processed at this point in the year as a seasonal norm. So that is further reducing the supply of product.
Oh, okay. So the farmers have already worked out over the season how much stock and, what's going offshore and what happens to it. But they've been hit with an unusual shortage of grass. Is that kind of where we're at?
Well, if you remember, there was dry conditions earlier in the year, so that would mean that that will have led some farmers to send their livestock off to the processing plant perhaps earlier than they might have done. So, as a whole industry, there have been many more thousands of numbers of livestock being processed at this current point of the year than what would be normal for a seasonal norm.
Is the demand for our beef and lamb overseas adding to the problems here? Because haven't nearly all our major markets increased?
Yeah, look, North America in particular is really there's some really strong demand coming out of North America for beef, which is putting further pressure on price.
Well, I mentioned just at the beginning of one butcher saying that even the cheaper cuts are hard to find, like lamb shanks or lamb flaps. Why would those cuts that don't have high export value? Why would we be struggling to find them, or if we do, they're expensive? Would you know?
It comes back. It comes back to sort of simple supply and demand. As I said at the beginning, the number of livestock that are being processed at the moment. So that's obviously they are then broken down into those individual cuts. There is just less animals being processed right now, which then leads on to less supply of all cuts, which leads us to where we are